thought of what we call Education 2.0, just going back to the drawing board really, and reimagining the whole, instead of fixing the existing one, just why don't we build our dream education system? And that was presented later that year in October in the first youth conference that was held in Sharm el-Sheikh. And the president subscribed to the idea and asked me to start thinking of doing that. um, when you dream of something, you take the risk of getting to that point where someone tells you, okay, go do it. And we started that in 2017. Um, we we started a lot of stuff in 2017, just much earlier than when the COVID-19 challenged us all. But in the fall semester of 2018, we were lucky to deploy the first few years of the new education system. We deployed it on the ground for KG1, KG2, grade 1 students, fall of 18. Those were a few million children, really, and we didn't go through pilots or so. We just deployed it nationally across the board. And now that new system has reached grade 3. So teachers you are inviting today who are teaching kids from KG1 to grade 3 are teaching the new education system. And it depends really largely on their understanding and competence as to how much we can get out of the new design. Um, we are writing already the curriculum framework for grades 4 to 6 for the new education system, which should be deployed soon. It's very exciting. People are really paying attention to something else we did also parallel to the design of the new system. We changed the assessment in high school. And the idea was, while we are doing a real transformation, starting from the early years, going up, we have to save the generations that are on the old system. We were very concerned that the old system has turned into a machine to create paper grades without much learning, really, if you face it. People have perfected the art of getting grades without learning, and actually they forgot all about it. Even if you try to tell them we are here to learn, they're really angry of you. It's like, oh, you don't understand. We are here to do something else, to minimize the effort and get to a paper that would get us into college. And that was and still is a big confrontation. It's really a culture. The culture of education is what we are battling with. It has turned into this, maybe not only in Egypt. I mean, it's just exam driven. It's not learning driven. And we want to shift them back to that learning is fun. You have to learn all your life. You have to know how to learn. Of course, it looks theoretical to them as, and to many parents, unfortunately. Uh, Parents are gearing towards just helping their kids get grades, go to college, and now we are done. Now, learning is and measuring learning outcomes is not really something that people care about as much as we do now. So we changed the assessment in high school to really measure the understanding of learning outcomes, and we turned the exams into open books. We use technology not for the sake of it, but for solving some other problems like cheating and leaking the exams and many other, and just trying to get the human factor out of it and get a close assessment on what do they really understand. And that has started also in the fall of 18 with grade 10, and now it reached the end of the line as we have grade 10, 11, and 12 all subject to the new assessment. They all are equipped with devices. Every single student, poor and rich, have the same resources. The government paid lots of money to put the IT infrastructure for high schools. So the high school group in Egypt, grade 10 to 12, are really enjoying something different than their peers. Grades 4 to 9, the ones between the new education system, which now moved until grade 3, and the reform we are doing in high school, grades 4 to 9 are the ones that didn't yet see the impact of changes. And when COVID-19 hit, we were at a position where we had lots of investments that we benefited from. We had digital content in the Egyptian Knowledge Bank. We had quickly put together a portal called study.ekb.eg, which was it's a digital library of learning resources from KG1 until grade 12 in Arabic and English. And that is a huge, huge resource that we have been building since 2015. It came very handy at the time. We added after March of this year streaming of online courses, bidirectional. Each session takes about 10,000 students. We put together a social learning network called Edmodo with virtual classrooms. This academic year, we are adding very high level TV stations. So all curricula, all Egyptian lessons from grade 1 to grade 12 will be broadcast on television live 24 by 7 over three different frequencies. We started with grades 4 to 9 with something called Madrasetna, which is really having a lot of success. It's watched by about 12 million students as the primary source for lessons. We are adding 10 days from now, two stations, one for technical education and one for grades 1 to 3 and grades 10 to 12. So we'll cover then all school years. We're having a new platform called Ask Your Teacher. It's like an Uber platform, but instead of getting a cab, you get a teacher to answer your questions. And that is coming soon. We also have two new portals, one for electronic books. We have transformed all our books into electronic books. We'll release that December 1st. Um, and also a new platform for high level revisions of science and math for high schoolers. We'll have that ready by December 1st as well. So all in all, I think we were able to leapfrog really from the starting point that we had in 2017 to a position 3 years later where we have tremendous digital content. We are able to do electronic exams for millions of kids at the same time. We were told that this is the largest number of electronic exams around the world that anyone could do at one point. This year, we will test 1.8 million kids in high school electronically. That will be the first Sanawiyya Amma or exit exam. Excuse me, that will be completely electronic, open book, multiple forms, not even the same unified exam as it used to be. It will be completely graded electronically without a human factor. So it's a big shift. And there are lots of details I don't want to bother you with, but all in all, there is a lot happening, and we are getting a lot of requests from countries in the region and in Africa to collaborate. Just came back from Dubai, where we have negotiations to help or to share with other countries, like in the Emirates, Iraq, Jordan, Djibouti, Cameroon, bits and pieces of that. So it's an exciting time. COVID has helped us accelerate the acceptance of online models of learning and use of technology than without COVID-19. But we had invested in that prior to the epidemic. The biggest problem we have is the cultural switch from the old learning models and the old learning objectives by the parents to what we want them to do. So this is where we are, and maybe I'll leave it to stop here and see if there are questions or how you want to lead this. Okay.
Thank you, Dr. Tarek. Um, you actually touched on something that I had thought about in that COVID, as unpleasant as it is, actually the ministry had done quite a bit of work that made it easier, I think, for, with the Egyptian Knowledge Bank and several of the other portals that you have been working on and the ministry has been working on. So how do you see the education system in Egypt being prepared for the unexpected with COVID and the coronavirus?
Well, we are really in much better shape this academic year than we were a few months ago. We have rescheduled attendance of 23 million students on the ground, and that has helped us solve chronic problems like excessive density of students in the classrooms. Students now go in different shifts, different times, depending on the age and situation in each school. So we ended up with attendance schedules that make sure that the maximum number of students per class is like 25, which is something we were not even dreaming about a year ago. The model of hybrid learning of some in class, some online, is being widely accepted because of COVID-19. We are using television for the reason that not every student has access to the internet, and we can't ask each one to do that. Some of them financially are unable to acquire it. So until we make it available to them, we cannot force them. So that's why TV, free television, is something we invested in as the least common denominator. And that we're very happy with. And whatever is being broadcast is also available on YouTube for those who want to access it later. And that mix is very helpful. But that, as you can imagine, requires a redefinition of the teacher's role in the classroom. Because in the days when students go to class, they're not going really for direct instruction as they used to. They have seen that on television. So the teacher now has to really answer their questions, maybe explain difficult topics, run brainstorming sessions or questions and answers. This is a new formula we need to train teachers to do. Some of them are just worried, tense, happy or unhappy. So it's just new. And students have, those who have access to the internet, which are plenty actually. I can tell you, we cannot guarantee everyone has access, but in April and May of this year, when we put Edmodo online, which is a kind of an online a learning management system, really, it's a very light learning management system. We couldn't force people to use it, but we had 13 million user accounts. And that's a huge number. I mean, people were able to get there from their mobiles, get there from laptops, from friends' accounts, but they were there. Uh, 13 million. We know that. So uh, it is interesting. Kids are responding very quickly in grades 4 upwards. We don't introduce technology to grades lower than 4 by design. So in the new education system, kids on Education 2.0 from KG1 to grade 3 are supposed to be helped in class by a teacher, do things by hand, not resort to technology before grade 4 anyway. Uh, so people are now, kids are responding well, they are learning well, they did well actually in the online exams. The biggest challenge is to convince parents that their kids are doing well, with or without exams, with or without grades. This is the challenge we have. It's our conversation with parents and with the older folks, even some teachers as well. But teachers remain, in my opinion, the most important players to make that work, to make all of this work, to respond to the challenge. That's why I like the event you are putting together and the conversation with teachers.
Thank you very much. Janine Schenk has asked a question that maybe you have answered. She asked, how can we reach students through distance learning that don't have access to internet? So Janine, did you want to elaborate on that, or was the minister's answer responsive?
I
No, the
answered
minister's
partially.
answer was perfect.
No, I answered partially. All of them have access to school for 3 days as a minimum or more for having direct access to the teacher, but also have the continuous broadcast of courses on television, every subject in every school year. So this is, if you have nothing else, you have the school book, the 3 days in class, the television, and we allowed schools to hold sessions in the evening for those who want extra help to go and seek that help as well. If you have no internet, if you have internet, you have much more resources to go to.
I think Egypt has a long history, actually, of using technology in this way, starting even in the 60s, I believe, with a program called Paper, Pen, and a Mirror. You may correct me, I may not have that right, to reach people who otherwise could not be reached.
Uh, yes, they use technology in different forms, but I remember really, I was a professor of engineering really in 96 at Illinois, and I came here on sabbatical. I came to Egypt on sabbatical leave, and I remember teaching a course to my students in Illinois over a dial-up network from Egypt in January 96. This is probably one of the very first online courses that were real. It was really delivered from here to Illinois, not the other way around. And we built on it. But no, what we are having now is really um, big in terms of IT integration and technology at that scale. So on the ground, the nitty gritty is it takes hours to explain, but we have the networks, the clouds, the digital content, the whole solution. The human element is lagging behind. So we need to uh, get the teacher to be aware of the changes and the parents to be part of the change. Otherwise, it will not get the desired results, I think.
Thank you. We have one more question, and then I think we need to release everybody to go on to the other sessions. So Mohammed asks, what is the NGO's participatory role in equipping the teachers and students with the needed skills and technicalities?
Oh, that's a very good question. The ministry way of doing things, I guess, obvious has changed a lot since in the past 3 years. All I was talking about is done really with a huge range of partnerships with local and international partners. Some of them are publishing houses, some are educational big players, some are local NGOs, local experts. It's all a partnership model. We are not doing business as usual. We are doing business with the state of the art knowledge, just customizing it to Egypt. So the ministry's arms are open really to work with NGOs, with local publishers, local players. NGOs helps us a lot on the ground in so many things I cannot even list here. But we're just open to great ideas, open to partnerships, to even business partnerships. We are bringing even publishers who used to work alone away from the ministry to be partners with the ministry in doing extra books, guidelines for the parents. So it's a different business model, different attitude. So yes, we are very much welcoming NGO participation.
Thank you so much. I really do admire the network of NGOs, businesses, universities that the ministry has assembled. I would like to thank you, Dr. Tarek, for your time and for reaching out. We have teachers, we have about 390 teachers that will be participating in this conference from around the world, from Mauritius to the Philippines, a big group of teachers, obviously here in Egypt, that we've reached out with the help of one of our partners, Educate Me. So we're very grateful for your time, and I will end the session now. I want to share one quick thing with you. We hope that those of you who are not familiar with our wonderful country here, that you can go on a tour. The virtual tours are listed in the chat room. And also visit our Beyond the App bookstore that has books from various authors that are presenting. I bring this out particularly not so much to help them, but all of the proceeds from the affiliate links will go to buying books for children in Egypt and in Guatemala. Thank you so much, Dr. Tarek. It was a very much pleasure.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye-bye.